It started with a podcast, but not just any podcast. JD Vance appeared on a conservative program and, without warning, dropped a name that made the room go silent. Denzel Washington. He accused the two-time Oscar winner of being part of a toxic elite system undermining American values. The backlash was instant. Denzel's fans flooded social media. Industry veterans called it reckless. But Vance? He doubled down, claiming he wasn't afraid of fake outrage. That was his first mistake. When a U.S. senator casually weaponizes a household name, something deeper is happening. One quote can shatter trust and spark war. Denzel Washington isn't just a celebrity, he's a global brand, a legacy, and a moral compass to millions. So when JD Vance's comment went viral, it wasn't just disrespectful, it was dangerous. Today's digital age, one sentence can go nuclear. Denzel's lawyers didn't mince words, said the remarks intentionally misrepresented his values and damaged his reputation in measurable ways. And they had receipts. In 2025, you don't need a press conference, just a tweet and a filing number. Reputations can crumble faster than they're built. Truth matters, but proof is power. Washington's legal team filed a $100 million lawsuit, and it wasn't for show. The documents laid it out clearly: defamation, malicious intent, reputational harm, and loss of future income. Not just in Hollywood, but in philanthropy, endorsements, speaking tours, places Denzel had quietly built over decades. This wasn't about ego, it was personal. When a man like Denzel takes legal action, it's never impulsive. It's because the damage has already been done. $100 million isn't just symbolic, it's a line in the sand. Some reputations don't have a prize until someone tries to burn them down. Behind the scenes, Vance's allies panicked. Major donors started asking questions. Some even warned him directly, walk it back. But instead, he went on Fox News and doubled down again, calling Denzel an elite hypocrite profiting from division. That single line was like pouring gasoline on a media wildfire. Even longtime supporters looked stunned. It wasn't just political theater anymore, it was personal vitriol. And when you pick a fight with Hollywood royalty, you better be ready for the spotlight to turn. Pride is powerful, but it can also be a trap. Sometimes backing down saves more than just face. The entertainment industry noticed, and fast. Within hours of the Fox segment, Kerry Washington tweeted, "We stand with Denzel." Jamie Foxx reposted the court filing with nothing but emoji. Support poured in from actors, producers, even journalists. But this wasn't just about solidarity. It was a warning. The industry was circling the wagons, sending a message to Vance. You don't get to weaponize black icons for soundbites. And you certainly don't get to do it without consequences. When Hollywood mobilizes, it doesn't just post hashtags. It brings receipts, money, and media. The machine was moving in. It wasn't on Vance's side. Then the leak happened. Anonymous source later revealed to be a former Vance aide shared internal campaign emails with a journalist. The emails showed what many suspected. The mention of Denzel wasn't a slip. It was planned. A strategy to rile the base, drive donations, and spark culture war headlines. It was engineered outrage, and now it was exposed. Suddenly Vance wasn't just facing Denzel. He was facing a paper trail. A politician can spin opinions, but not their own strategy deck. When motives go public, defenses collapse. This wasn't off the cuff. It was calculated, and that changes everything. So why didn't Denzel strike back sooner? Why wait weeks after the initial smear? According to insiders, it was deliberate. Denzel gave Vance time to walk it back, time to reflect. But Vance didn't flinch, he escalated. And that silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. Washington understood the game. He let Vance speak. He let him repeat it. He let him dig the hole. Then, with the public watching, he dropped the hammer. You don't rush a checkmate when your opponent is still bluffing. Patience isn't passivity's precision. And now, the trap had closed. The fallout began immediately. A major GOP-aligned PAC paused over $5 million in media buys slated to support Vance's upcoming re-election campaign. One donor anonymously told Politico, "We don't fund lawsuits, fund winners." In Washington, perception is power, and suddenly, Vance's image was hemorrhaging. No longer the scrappy outsider, now just another headline risk. When your own team starts pulling resources, you're no longer the future, you're a liability. And in politics, liabilities are left behind. One statement had triggered a cascading collapse. Careers can vanish not from a scandal, but from how they're handled. Inside the Senate, things got colder. Multiple sources confirmed that GOP leadership had a private sit-down with Vance, urging him to apologize or settle, but he refused. He framed the lawsuit as an attack on free speech and vowed to fight it in court. That stubbornness raised eyebrows among hardliners. Some admired it, others saw it as self-sabotage. It was no longer about values. It was about optics, timing, and legal exposure. When your own party questions your judgment, the damage is already done. Conviction can inspire, but when it blinds you to the cliff ahead, it becomes your downfall. Want to see powerful people held accountable, no matter their title? Tap like, subscribe, and let us know. Should Denzel win this case? Your voice makes these stories matter. The media storm hit full velocity. CNN called it a political suicide attempt. Conservative outlets like the Daily Wire painted Denzel as part of a Hollywood witch hunt. But then came the court filings. Evidence, screenshots, voicemails, witness lists. What once looked like a media feud now read like a legal ambush. Narratives started to wobble. Talking points lost steam. Because in the end, you can't argue with a transcript. Emotion moves the crowd, but evidence moves the court. The tone shifted. Vance's team knew it. In public, he bluffed. Court, he bled. Then came the twist no one saw coming. Mitt Romney-esque. Mitt Romney released a public statement condemning Vance's remarks. But that wasn't all. He reached out to Denzel's legal team, offering to testify. The ripple effect was immediate. Other moderates started pulling away. The GOP unity Vance counted on began to fracture. This wasn't just about culture war. Anymore, it was about integrity. When political rivals start defending your enemy, the narrative collapses. It's no longer left versus right. It's about right versus wrong. And that shift is lethal for any campaign. Vance responded with a countersuit, alleging Hollywood collusion to silence conservative voices. But legal experts were quick to weigh in. The move was weak, more symbolic than strategic, lacking legal merit and filled with vague accusations. A distraction tactic. One analyst said bluntly, "You can't countersue just because you're losing the PR war." Filing baseless lawsuits doesn't show strength, it signals panic. The courtroom is not cable news. There are no viral clips, only verdicts. And Vance, by all accounts, had walked into this one willingly. Polls told a brutal story. In key swing states, Vance's favorability dropped by nearly 20 points. Meanwhile, Denzel's public image, already iconic, rebounded to new heights. The people weren't confused. They picked their side. And it wasn't close. America respects resilience, but it has no patience for pettiness, especially when it comes at the expense of those who've actually earned their name. In a fight between manufactured outrage and lived integrity, the audience made its call. And the numbers didn't lie. When the trial opened, it started with a jolt. Denzel's lawyers played a private voicemail. JD Vance, laughing, saying, "Will, throw Denzel in there." The basil ate it up. The courtroom froze. One sentence had confirmed the entire premise of the lawsuit. This wasn't a slip. This was premeditated. The jury didn't need legal training to hear that. It hit like a thunderclap. Motive, intent, damage delivered in a 12-second audio file. That soundbite may end up costing Vance more than just dollars. Could cost him everything. The testimony. Denzel composed, unshaken, and devastatingly clear. He walked through decades of work, civil rights efforts, mentoring programs, and bipartisan community initiatives, all undercut by one careless smear. At one point, jurors visibly teared up. It wasn't a performance, it was a reckoning. Denzel didn't rant. He didn't posture. He spoke quietly, and it echoed. In that silence, the truth landed like a punch. Sometimes dignity doesn't need volume, it just needs clarity. Experts began weighing in fast. Harvard law professor Ella McBride called it a near-textbook case of defamation with demonstrable harm. Others noted that if Vance loses, it could establish precedent for future high-profile slander suits. The legal world was watching, not just for the verdict, but for what it might unleash. A chilling effect on reckless political speech. Possibly, but one thing was clear. This wasn't a skirmish, it was a seismic moment. The kind that changes how public figures speak and how they pay for it when they don't think before they do. But maybe this was never just about Denzel versus Vance. Maybe it was about something bigger. Two Americas, one built on legacy, character, and quiet leadership. The other, addicted to outrage, clickbait, and chaos. In the courtroom. That was just the latest battlefield, where truth still holds power, where reputations are tested, where culture war turns into civil consequence. This trial wasn't a sideshow. It was a signal that even in chaos, some lines still matter. Now the jury deliberates, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If the verdict swings in Denzel's favor, it won't just cost JD Vance millions, it could end his political career. But beyond the courtroom, the damage may already be done. Because some stains don't wash off when the final gavel hits. The real punishment won't be financial. It'll be written in legacy. $100 million is one thing. A reputation shredded in front of the world that lasts forever. This isn't just about politics or fame. It's about truth, reputation, and standing your ground when powerful voices try to twist the narrative. And as the world watches, so do we? Tap subscribe and join us next time as we unpack another seismic moment that reshapes the national conversation. This video is commentary and opinion based on publicly available reports and allegations. It is not professional legal advice. Always consult a qualified expert where needed.